Peace YouTube, this is Flirting coming to you today. I'm sorry I'm running late. I just got in and I realized that I had a look at the scratches already. Piece of the east, the west, the north, and the south. I think I'm on, and I think am I here? Can you see me? You guys can see me. Can you see me? Okay. Alright, let me keep the camera up. Okay. So, peace to the east, the west, the north, and the south. This is Flirting coming to you today with a new topic of discussion. So, I'm going to get it in right away. I'm sorry I'm late. I just got in with my partner in crime. I think I called the twin flames in the house. And I wanted to discuss something really, really devious going on. It's crazy. And, you know, a lot of times I get some amazing intel. So, part of the intel has to do with this. So, I'll wait until a few people check in. When you check in, please put a handy dandy like on a video to let me know this is a topic that you find interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna start off playing a audio. Like I said, I'm sorry. I apologize for running late. I just got in and I ran and I changed the time of the actual live. So hopefully I'll be okay. I look a little messy, but oh my god, okay. Sorry. All right, let's get it in.
On AmericanMilitary.com published January 5th. Report, Iran MP threatens attack on White House. We can attack the White House itself. AmericanMilitaryNews.com, January 5th. DHS website hacked with pro-Iranian message, image of bloody Trump. Express.co.uk, January 6th. Iran unveils red flag at mosque, warning of severe battle to come. Iran has issued a terrifying warning to the U.S. as it raised a red flag over the dome as a symbol of a severe battle to come. Infowar.com, January 5th. Iran will pay $80 million for Trump's assassination. Iran calls for the head of the president in a massive escalation of war tension.
Okay, so I'm not laughing. What's crazy about this is that, family, do you realize that this is gone, they're really going balls to the wall for this one? They're literally, the stage, all the world is a stage, but they are literally going balls to the wall for this one. So basically, if you don't understand or understand that, if this is the case, that there is really an $80 million bounty on your President Trump, that means that that's a bounty on his clone. And I wanted to give a warning to Trump's clone. So this is actually a message about the clone, because if there's truly the Satanists have decided to go all balls in the wall to make this really epic, that means that your President Trump has already left the building. He isn't here anymore. He's already hiding. You already know Trump is not about that life. Your president is very bougie. He's very wealthy, and he's not about that life. So I will just let you know, this is what I feel. Your president has already left the building. He isn't going to be in the White House ever again. He probably left. He's living on a beautiful yacht somewhere with one of the multiple insectilian queens that he's mating with again, and he isn't here. Okay, because now I feel bad for the clone. So this message is to the clone, and just to talk about the insidiousness of how far they were willing to go. So they have an 80,800,000. Listen, family. Wait, let me make sure. Wait, did I say the number correct? Hold on. Let me just make sure.
As you can flag over the dome of a severe battle to come.
Let me just make sure.
Infowar.com, January 5th. Iran will pay $80 million for
okay, so 80. Do you realize so 80 million cryptocurrency, because that's not real currency. They're printing out money just for this. So basically, $80 million to Satanists, because when they're saying Iranians are doing this, this is all a Satanist plot. This is all basically a Satanist Luciferian plot to, basically pull on a whole, the LCD screens are lit up. They got all kinds of barium, aluminum falling out of the skies to help for the hologram to be really solidified. They've got all the false flags, crisis actors ready, willing and able to sign on, because they probably got nice $50,000 checks. So all the crisis actors are happy because they're being employed right now. So you shouldn't talk about employment ever again, because crisis actors are actually being super employed right now and getting fat checks for the final stage of the big. It's a big epic, final finale of the United States of America. So basically, they have an $80 million cryptocurrency. Oh, I'm sorry. I got my bosoms. I apologize. That is not purposefully for anyone who thinks I'm a pervert. I don't mean to show you. I'm falling out all over the place because bras are a bastard to a woman's body. So they force me to have to engage my breasts. So I apologize if you see stuff pop out. It isn't my fault. I eat a lot. I'm stocking up for the apocalypse. So I'm basically eating like a squirrel. I'm stocking up my body for the apocalypse. Anyway, so it is what it is. Oh, listen. Squirrels do it. Chipmunks do it. Why can't I do it? So don't get mad at me. Anyway, basically, they're prepping you for the pseudo false flag of. Listen, this is going to get the award-winning false flag of the new century. They're going balls to the wall, family, and I feel sorry for Trump's clone. So I want to give a message to the clone. I feel really bad because they're trying to take you out, or I don't know how many clones or syntheticas there are. I feel really bad for you because they're basically, I told you, they're going balls to the wall. $80 million. This is like the purge. You ever seen the purge? Like people are putting bounties on purge night, like putting money on somebody to be taken out. This is crazy. So the poor clone is now going to be an object of subjection to this false flag, final finale. And soon they're going to stage a whole, like I said, all the crisis actors. I don't know if any of you know any of the crisis actors. All the crisis actors now are being employed in mass droves for this finale. This is sick, y'all. This is really sick. So I wanted to go into that. I know I know you think I'm making a joke. I'm really serious. This is the crazy part. I'm really serious. I'm telling you that they are really going to go balls to the wall with the hologram. They're going to pull all out of the stunts. The false flag is fully in effect. They're ready. They pulled out all the actors out of their gloves. Out of their pockets. Okay? So you need to mind your business. Okay? Mind your business. Because the poll shift's coming. You need to just chill out. Play your games. If you got spades, Parcheesi, Jenga, whatever you got in the house. They're already testing the grid. Okay? And to let you know some other craziness, I got some intel today, which pissed me off. Okay, so we talked about the fact that they were, I told you that the Chinese, a couple of the sea stars had let me know. Remember, a lot of people are getting offers on their homes, okay, including myself. So there were people calling for a while, giving offer on all the homes in my neighborhood and quite a few of the neighborhoods all around I thought it was just me. No, it's all around the country. And we know in Jamaica, the Chinese have already taken over. We know in Africa, they're buying property in the droves and they're giving African diaspora money so that they can have set up their AI stations so they can basically spy on everyone in Africa and eventually, take all their, I don't know what they're doing. I can't even say. So apparently they're doing a mass migration. Now, why is this serious? We got to go back into history. Past behavior is a good indication of future behavior. Okay? Now, this isn't to demonize the Chinese people because we know that it's all fakery. It's being ran by an umbrella of non-humans and insectilians because really the Asiatic facet represent the insectilians or, some of the AI or grays, okay? These are not real people. I'm not talking about Chinese people. You already know I'm not about that life. There isn't any judgment towards our Chinese people because we're all being used to a certain degree. And even the Chinese government has all these protests going on. And in France, they have protests going on. The whole world is, the hologram is falling apart. The hologram is just falling apart. So listen. So I got intel today. So we know the Chinese are coming over, but let's go into past behavior of the Chinese, the Asiatic facet of our world, okay? You do know, I hope that many of you know, that in Australia is burning right now. We got to go into that as well. And also there's a lot of Chinese in Australia. There's so much going on, family. Okay, so you do know that, there she goes. It's crazy. Anyway, you do know that about maybe, I can't give time reference because time really doesn't exist. So I'm just going to give you the preamp to what I'm speaking about. Oh, thank you, Carlin. I appreciate it. Thank you, my love. Mwah. Thank you. Many eons ago, a while ago, there was a mass migration from the Asiatic part of the world over to the Americas. This is how you know it's true, is because you see remnants of the people, the Mongolian people, in phenotype, okay? That's why you have a lot of the so-called indigenous people with a lot of Asiatic features, okay? You see them in parts of South America, all the way from Central America, Mexico, into Northern America, the Iroquois, the Cherokee, even the Blackfoot, even into Canada. Very Asiatic features. They do this every once in a while. I don't know why, but this is very much a program that happens every couple hundred years. There's a mass exodus from parts of the Asiatic part of the world over into the Americas, and they kind of migrate into these regions, and they assimilate into the culture and into the people. So many of you know, when you see a lot of the Cherokee or the Iroquois or the Chickasaw, they have very Asiatic features, but the original people were copper and dark brown. Okay, so the original people here had very coily hair, very dark skin, and very brown. But when the Asiatic, came and migrated to these parts of the country, they assimilated into the tribal base, and you get this beautiful complexion. You know, they look gorgeous. They're beautiful, very Asiatic features, very high cheekbones, but very Africano kind of, features as well. It's a lovely combination, it really is. But this is what they do. Okay, so this is a program. I don't know why I don't know why. I can't tell you. There's a reason why it happens, but it happens every couple of hundred years. We're getting the mass exodus of the Asiatic population into the Americas again, into Africa and into the Caribbean. And also Australia, big up to our Australian family. They also said there's a lot of the Mongolian people, the Asiatics that are actually in Australia buying a lot of the property. Now, I find this very interesting because I have a theory. Let me just state this. You may not agree with my theory, okay? So my personal theory is that, and this, I don't know how you'll feel about it. It's just what I think I know. Listen, I said I think I know until something else comes up. I personally think that America, the United States of America, has sold North America to China. I think they made an agreement under the table, an underhand agreement, and they sold the entirety of the country. This is my opinion, because I haven't seen this much, and I'm going to tell you some intel what makes me think that. Because all of a sudden, everybody, it's almost like selling your stake in your land, selling your land to others to pay off a debt. Because remember, we owed a lot of money to China because there were a lot of loans. Remember that America had a lot of trade agreements with China and owed a lot of money to China. That's why a lot of your imports are coming from China, like directly from China. That's because we owed a lot of money. There was a lot of debt to China. So I think they cleared their debt by selling their country. I'm being honest. They've done it before. Past behavior is a good indication of future behavior. Because remember, Rizing came on the show. Remember, we did the last show last New Year's, Gregorian New Year's, when Rizing said over in Mexico and across the border that he was thinking he was seeing Mexicans, but they were really Chinese. Remember, Rizing blew that spot. And then today I heard that in Connecticut that the parole, no, what's the people who are in the jails? What's the name of the people who are in the jails? And I don't know the name. What is the name of the people who are actually, it's not parole officers, it's the ones who are inside the jails who take care of the prisoners. What are they called? I forgot the name. Do you guys know the names? Someone knows the names. Wardens, correction officers. I just got intel today and I vetted it out that in Connecticut, that they have to learn Mandarin now. Listen to me, family. It bugs me out. I had no idea. They have to learn Mandarin, not only Spanish, but they're required to learn Mandarin because there's a ton of Chinese in the prison system and they have gangs. Did you know about this? Did any of you know about this? Because I vetted it out. So there's Chinese gangs in Connecticut, which many of you don't know and they're having to learn Chinese in order to deal with the mass amount of Chinese that are in the prison system. Go figure that. So family, I don't think we have a soft takeover anymore. I think we've fully been taken over. Remember, I made a video about the soft takeover of China? Oh, family. Oh, I personally think the United States has sold the country to the Chinese, and they're sending them over in the droves, and all of these properties are being bought. Like, I called the company. I did a little sneak move today. Shh, I gotta be quiet. I called the company today that was calling me. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't mean to show my bosoms. I called the company today that was calling me because people were calling me individually, and guess what? Guess where their company is being their base company is. It's a private Chinese corporation that's buying up all the homes, these beautiful homes in Orlando. Okay, so listen, family, you better remember when you saw Nihai Kailan showing up. I told you the cartoon. When my little ones were little, remember they had the cartoon called Nihai Kailan, and she'd be like Ni Hao, and you were learning Mandarin. Oh, family, they were setting you up. My girlfriend Jenny had told me when she was working for, she doesn't work for them anymore, so I could blow the spot. She was working for Dolce Bank, and she told me about 20 years ago, family, I'm going to tell you some intel, and then we're going to go into the president's clone. She told me about 20 years ago that there was a mass amount of Chinese that were being shipped in here legally, but illegally, and Dolce Bank was selling property up in Poconos in Pennsylvania to all of these Chinese investors, and they were buying land. This was over 20 years ago. Okay, she told me that, and I didn't believe her. I was like, why would the Chinese want to come? And I figured, well, maybe it's because we had debt, so maybe they're trying to, exonerate them. Maybe they're trying to, get the debt lower or what have you. So I figured the case is your son has to take Mandarin class in public school. What? Purple Goddess just give us intel. So family, okay, so before we get into the other part of it, let me state this. They have sold, this is my opinion. Let me state this. I am not an investor. I'm not a banker. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. I'm not a PO officer. I'm not a cop. I'm not a military person, but this is my opinion. I think they sold the United States of America. That's why they don't care what goes on. That's why they started kicking off a false war, a pseudo war, because they're all gone. They sold it. So they don't even care. They're not invested in protecting a country that is not even theirs anymore. They're basically saying, let the Chinese take. So family, this is crazy. They took over. You're living in China and you don't even know it. Oh, it's gone further. Oh, wait. And mind you, China represents you're right, the AIs, because remember, they're into the world, they're into surveillance. If the Chinese took over, everything's being watched. They've got yours. Well, we already know that. I don't think that's hiding anything. But you're gonna have like iBots, all this. Oh, it's crazy. Okay, so I had to bring that in before I went a little further. Okay, so let's go back to the general conversation. Okay, let's go back to where I was. Okay, so now, wait, hold on. Let me play something else for you. Hold on. And I'm not going, listen. My partner, my mate, big up to, like I said, my mate is in the house. So I'm going on a tangent now. And he agrees, but he thinks I'm ODing. So it's none of his business. He's probably watching this right now, seeing me outside in the truck talking about this. But he should mind his business because I have to blow spots. That's what I do. Okay, hold on. Okay, so there's another tie-in to this. Okay, so Truth Unveiled. Now, I'm going to play... Okay, let me explain something. Okay, Truth Unveiled is a channel. Now, they're really, really, really religious. Let me state this. I'm religious ties and so on. You have to kind of take what you require or need or take, and then kind of put the rest, you know, to the side. Because Truth Unveiled had some really great tie-ins here. So I'm going to play some of it for you, and it's very interesting because many of you remember Miss Universe is that very melanated chocolate sea star, very carbon sea star, that one Miss Universe from South Africa. Remember, everything's coded, okay? And then also he brought in the fact that all of a sudden you brought out the movie with Harriet Tubman. And then remember they were saying that, hey, Pavel, oh, thank you, my love. They brought out the movie Harriet Tubman at the same time, bringing up the fact that they were going to make a $20 bill with Harriet Tubman and Harriet Tubman with a $20 bill. So, you know, the 20 and 20 multiplied times each other is 400 years. And, you know, the 400 years curse of the brown people being enslaved is now over. So now they're saying it's about to be flip mode. I told you that the cycle's changing. Let me play this for you. Hold on.
And today I have a very critical report to share with you. We're going to be talking about the recent updates with Iran and also following up on our video from yesterday.
Hold on, my
talking more about the war as they're beating, because there are things that are happening and taking place all over the world. But the question is, are your eyes open? Because this is a report from The Sun that says, red alert, Iran vows to hit 35 U.S. targets and unfurls red flag of war as America says it expects retaliation, quote, within weeks. And by the way, this is said to be the first time that Iran is doing such a thing with such a declaration with this red flag that's also being noted as what? The red flag of war, or what they call the red flag of doom. Now, in case you don't already know, from our video yesterday, we talked about how President Donald Trump issued that drone strike over the airport in Baghdad, Iraq, and one of the strikes just so happened to take out an Iran military general. And of course, this is what they're telling us, but again, using discernment, because we know that what? Both sides of the war is funded, problem, reaction, solution. But then this goes on to say that hours later, rockets were fired near the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad and at an airbase housing American troops, according to reports. Now, again, this flag was released and was raised up as of yesterday, but it goes on to say, red flags in Shiite tradition symbolize the need for a bloody revenge, and that's all they've been talking about in the media. Then it says that the flag was unfurled.
Now, just remember, I did a video on, remember Red Dawn? Why are you in here? These little fly things. Remember I did a video on Red Dawn and the soft takeover of China and Russia? I don't know how many months ago. I don't even remember when I made the video. This was like last year sometime. Okay, hold on. They got military. They got a military guy that just moved across the road. Like, he's rogue. He just bought a house. He doesn't have a wife. Of course, a brown man, an attractive brown man. See, they try to get you, right? You see what I'm saying? They try to send handlers. Yeah, he's a brown man. He lives across the street. Thank you, Elijah. Don't call me paranoid. He lives across the street. All of a sudden, he's coming outside. Hold on, family disappeared. Hold on. That's what happened to when I make videos. They always do weird. I'm just saying, family. Call me. Yo, I'm just saying. They always come out at like notable times when we're doing something. Like, I'm not in the house, but all of a sudden he wants to come outside and walk his dog. And you know, they always try to set you up. I'm just saying. For those of us who are in the Intellist community, they always send people to buy homes around you, and then they try to make them attractive so that, oh, maybe she'll be attracted. No, I'm not attracted to you because I know you're an agent. Don't try to come for me. I already know. If I need to date, I'll just have my twin flame come here and we will mate for life. But you don't try to send somebody across the street. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm a little paranoid. Okay, let's go.
World on top of the Jamkaran Mosque. Now, Trump claimed that the reason that attack took place was because, it was an enemy of the state, and they needed to take this action, and that this will not declare war, and we've already gone over that video yesterday. But General Qasem Soleimani was the head of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard's elite Quds force, according to this. Now, once again, this red flag was unveiled at the Jamkaran Mosque, which is a popular pilgrimage site for Shiite Muslims. It goes on to say that 2 attacks came just hours after mourners chanted "Death to America" at the funeral of top Iranian General Qasem Soleimani. A retaliation attack from Iran could be seen, quote, within weeks, either at home or abroad, a senior congressional staffer told Time magazine. The staffer said, quote, "There is no indication that there is going to be a de-escalation in the near future. The only question is, how bad is the retaliation going to be, and where and what is it going to hit?" And that's the question we need to be thinking about as well, because I'm telling you folks, this is some serious stuff that is going on. This is not just some patty cake thing. No, this is real stuff, and it's important to understand and discern the times that we're in, the times that we're living in, and also have a better understanding of prophecy and how this relates to prophetic events. And I'm going to be talking more about that when we tie in the Miss Universe as well. Now, I will leave the other link in the description box below so you can read that report on your own time from The Sun. However, this one I found interesting also. It comes from Express, where it says right here that the disturbing war flag reads the words, quote, "Those who want to avenge the blood of Hussein," unquote. And again, what the media is going to try to do is invoke fear and, watch out, and, terrifying.
Mind you, they only took out Hussein's clone. They didn't really take out Hussein. I'm just saying. That's my personal opinion. They took out Hussein's clone, and anybody in the top tier would know that. All these officials, all these top military officials, they're not even human. They all protect each other. They're all playing with each other. Their children sleep with each other in the Swiss Alps. How do I know this? Because I've seen it personally. Let's just get it in, okay? It's a lie.
Moments, because that's what they're doing, trying to fearmonger. But for those of us who are keeping the law, statutes, and commandments and have trust in Yahuwah and his true son Yahusha, we know that we do not have to fear. Why? Because our eyes are wide open and we understand how this is fulfilling prophecy. Not only that, but how it just so happens to be occurring in the 400th year. Is that a surprise or a coincidence? Just like is it a surprise or a coincidence how last month it was announced that Miss Universe, who was it crowned? So-called South Africa was crowned Miss Universe in 2019 in the 400th year. Wow, that's not a surprise either. And when you understand the nation of South Africa, when you understand where scripture took place, when you understand where Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, where they really walked, and where they really dwell, when you understand where the events of Scripture actually took place, and when you understand where the real Jerusalem is to this day, and what nation it is, then you'll understand the prophetic significance. Because when you understand prophecy, where it says that one group of people will be in...
He's going into a lot of religious connotations and things like that. I want to stay kind of focused. I really appreciate his videos. He's really on point. Again, I may not resonate with some of the religious things, but some of the biblical texts do speak about things that are happening now. So that's when they talk about prophecy. So I'm kind of, I'm with that. You know what I mean? But this person is called Truth Unveiled 777. You can listen to the entirety of the video. It's really insightful. He talks about Harriet Tubman. Now, you have to know that they give you some truth in they talk to each other via television. So a lot of these Kabbalists will speak to each other through codes, through giving truths, through detailing things. Miss Universe actually herself is from South Africa. Now, I'm going to give you some really interesting facts about that. South Africa has been, remember, it was destabilized for a long time. Remember, it had, apartheid was a big deal. And then apartheid was ended not too many years ago, maybe in the 80s. What was it, 80s and 90s? Apartheid was finally abolished, and not for any reason. If you know, right now there's a restabilizing of some of the African diaspora, of removing some of the Europeans that were there for a number of years, a lot of the farmers, especially a lot of the farmers, and removing them, and and starting to close their borders to anybody from the Western countries. It's very interesting that there's some of the countries are doing that. Now, the only thing that I have a problem with is they're saying that they're removing some of the Europeans, but then they're taking in the Chinese. So I'm sorry. They're taking in the Chinese. So why are you removing the Europeans, but then you're taking in another colonistic nation? Because what do you think the Chinese are going to do? See, it just, to me, it seems a little backwards, but it's right on time because we're all during the pre-pole shift. So a lot of changes of power are coming into fruition. Okay, so now if you don't realize, if you know that Miss Universe was a brown woman from South Africa, Miss America is a brown woman, Miss it was the 4 women that won. I can't remember right now. It was 4 women of color who won all of the Americas. Like Miss America was brown, Miss Universe was brown, Miss something was brown. All these different, was it Miss World was brown. I told you that they're changing the format of who's going to be in home court advantage. I told you this years ago when you thought I was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but obviously you're seeing that I had some good idea of what was coming. Teen USA is brown. They're doing something, so they're showing that these women of color are now starting to take a primary position as far as home court advantage, because women are taking home court advantage. Our sun stars, you should just let it happen. Sun stars, just let it happen. Don't fight it. Patriarchy, don't fight it. We don't bite. It'll be more balanced with us, as mothers and caretakers taking. Okay, wait. Avion has it. Miss World, Miss Universe, Miss America, and Teen USA. Okay, so they're all brown women. Okay, and that is coded. Okay, it's coded. Okay, and also it's another form of mentally putting a target on brown wombs. A lot of men want to mate with brown women now and inseminate their seed into a woman of color. It's always been that way, kind of covertly, but now it's more overt. You see a lot of the European diaspora mixing in with some of the royal brown families from some of the lines. Okay, so it's not something I can make up. You can see on any, Chase Bank. Look at. You'll know what they're encouraging by you'll seeing the propaganda. So when you go to Chase Bank, you'll see a very coily brown woman with a European husband. You didn't see that, and with a very fair skin, like a very neutral child. You're starting to see that propaganda all over the place. So they have a new goal and incentive, and it's all an agenda. It's all an agenda, family. Just, don't fall into the trap of whatever they're propaganding to you. Okay, so let's get back into the, for those coming in the room, just put a handy dandy like, just, for letting me know that this topic is of interest and you like for me to speak more on these types of topics. Thank you. Okay, so let's get back into it. So the Chinese have, I remember going to Jamaica many years ago. How many years ago? I think about maybe about 6 or 7 years ago. I was in Jamaica and I noticed, Jamaica has its own little town, a Chinese town. It's like a Chinatown. It's very interesting. You see very brown Asiatic people. It's a very unique town. But what I noticed is that over the last couple of years, I've heard that the Chinese have been taking over Jamaica and the Groves, and also why, this is my opinion, I've just vetted this out, that many of the assassinations of brown people going back to Jamaica to reestablish business and so on, there's been a lot of assassinations, and I heard it has to do with the Chinese mafia taking out anybody who would have a say or have some influence over them, or over them taking over. So basically, is it Barbados too? The Caribbean in total, it's probably all the Caribbean. Okay, so Barbados too, Antigua too. Oh shoot, the hive is coming. The insectilian hive is coming. This is a form of inception. So, oh wow, this is crazy. I didn't know. Okay, so we got Antigua on deck. We got, I know Jamaica was doing it. I know DR was saying that they were getting a big infiltration of a lot of Chinese coming into their countries. This is crazy. Oh wow. Okay, so I had an idea of the other places. Thank you for letting us know. All right, so uh-oh. Sorry. Um But this car driving mad slow. Look at this. Why are you driving so slow? Okay. So this is a global takeover. We see that this is happening. That's why I say to you, past behavior is a good indication of future behavior. A lot of people like to say, oh, forget the past. Oh, the past doesn't matter. Yes, it does. Because people, just like you get a perpetual line stepper, you ever had someone who violated you and then you forgot about what they did and then they do it again, and then you forget about what they did and they do it again? Those are perpetual line steppers. You have to remember things from the past because people and governments tend to repeat based on cycles. They repeat. Chinese have done this before. That's why you see a lot of Asiatic phenotypes in the Americas. If you don't believe me, look at the Iroquois, the Cherokee, the Chictoy, the not so much the Blackfoot. Blackfoot kept more of their melanated disposition, more roundish features. Look at what are they? The Hopi. The Hopi also have Asiatic. Then go into Mexico. Then go in parts of Colombia and go in parts of. You'll see that Asiatic phenotype dominating this area. And it wasn't so much that the indigenous were Asiatics. No, they were migrants. They were migrants that came here and assimilated with the brown population of indigenous, or if you call them aboriginals, that lived here. Okay, that's why they have those Asiatic features. So it looks like they're doing it again. Okay, it looks like they're doing it again. So let me go back in. So we have a no longer is this a soft takeover. I think United Snakes of America have sold your country out. This is my country. I take zero parts in this holographic game, this projection. I rebuke it and I reject it. So this country has been sold out to the Chinese, probably the Russians too. It's been sold out already. And that's what they were doing with Venezuela too. Okay, so it's been sold. America, all the American people said, you know what? The higher tier said, screw it. We're going to sell it out. That's why they're going to bring war to this land, because they sold it out and they're gone. Okay, and your president, I keep saying Bush. Why do I keep saying that? What timeline am I in? Your president, I was going to say Clinton. I don't know where I am. Your President Trump he's gone. He has left the building. He isn't living. First of all, he thought the White House wasn't up to. You know that, right? Your president is really bougie. He didn't want to live in a White. His Trump Tower trumped. Oh, why is he wearing sunglasses? They try to bring these brown men to try to infiltrate me. They don't realize. Can't stop, won't stop. You can't infiltrate me. It's not that easy. As long as he doesn't come and talk to me, because sometimes I come talk. So okay. So listen. So no, there isn't anything wrong with being bougie. The president, no, I'm just saying, the president isn't living in the White House. You know that, right? The president, listen, ever since Obama came there and they were playing African drums, I'm going to keep it real, family. I don't mince tongues. I'm a triple Sag. I apologize if anyone gets offended. I just speak the truth from what I know. I'm just saying, ever since Obama's wife had African drums playing up in the hallways of the White House, a lot of people don't. They don't. They won't stay in the house. So Trump, when he was called to presidency, didn't want to live in the White House because did you ever see the Trump Tower? Did you? I'm sorry. Did you ever see? I am paranoid. TuttiFrutti. I am from New York. Let me explain something, Tootie. What's your name? TuttiFrutti. What's your name? Tootie. Tootie, 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 Tootie. Listen to Tootie Tootie, whatever your name is. I'm sorry. No need to offend. I am from New York. I took the 2 train to go to college. I went to CCNY. I used to have to watch my back because if... Why are they sending... I used to sit on the subway and watch people get robbed if you sat too close to the door because they would snatch your necklace. I used to sit by and watch people and make sure I drove to out of certain neighborhoods really quickly before I got carjacked. So let me explain something. My paranoia isn't without validation. I come from that world. I lived in a beautiful home, wonderful family, lovely mother and father, married 60 years, but I had to go and take the subway. We call it my ex-husband used to call it the steel horse. What do you call it? The steel horse. So I'm always on point. I watch what people do. I don't listen to what you say because a lot of hustlers live in New York City. So I always used to listen to people, what they said, and see what they do. And I used to vet people out based on what I could visually interpret along with my healthy sensory. So if I am, what appears to you to be somewhat paranoid, believe me, I have a healthy sense of paranoia, and it's the reason why, as one of the intellists, I'm still living and I still have breath in my lungs. So I say that it's helped me and assisted me to make sure that I can still come to you live on this broadcast right now. Booyah. I'm sorry, TuttiFrutti. I didn't mean to. Tootie Tutu. Tutu. Is that your name? Tootie Tutu. I'm just saying. Okay, so let's get back to the topic, okay? I shouldn't even address these things, but sometimes I see something like that. I'm like, you're paranoid? Yeah, yeah. Hello? Do you see the world out there, Tootie? I'm just saying, if you're not paranoid and you see what's going on out there, I would question your sanity or your lack thereof. Because if you see what they're doing out there and the false flags they're about to set up, that would make anybody paranoid. Okay? So, well, hold on. Oh, it's mosquito. Oh, I forget. I'm not in Kansas anymore. Hold on. It's like mosquitoes coming in. I don't want to get that up. Hold on. I forget I'm in Florida again. I was in Montreal and Vermont, and it was so cold. I forget. I can't have... It's, at dusk, all the mosquitoes come in. Okay. All right, let me get back to the topic. I'm sorry. I trust these things. It's sad. Okay, so, what I was saying... Don't disrespect Tootie. They just said something. I'm sorry, Tootie Tutu. I didn't mean to say that, but I'm just saying. Just know where I come from. Sometimes it's good to know someone's background. That's why I say sometimes it's good to know someone's background so you can judge them from a healthy, with healthy discernment rather than seeing them act a certain way. If I'm talking about something like this and you've seen the broadcast where they do crazy things on my broadcast, you would understand why I'm a little paranoid. All right, so, okay, China has bought your country. President Trump isn't living in the White House. He thinks it is ghetto. It's been ghettofied. He thinks that since I'm serious. He said it himself. Don't get mad at me. He said it wasn't up to par. And if you ever saw the Trump Tower, you would understand. He was living like with ceilings of gold and like embellished in beautiful mosaic, patterns from Rome and Germany. Why, to him, it's like going to the White House is like going to the hood. That's according to him. I'm just saying. So he isn't in the White House. So if you're concerned about your president, and let me just state this, your president also isn't going to be here. He isn't about that life. President Trump isn't a gangster. He is a very well preserved man of wealth, and he isn't about that life. He's not the type of dude that will go bowdy for you. He ain't that life. He will get out of Dodge before anybody. You got an $80 million bounty on him. He isn't here anymore, family. He isn't living. I doubt he's even living in the States. Okay, so his clone has now taken front stage. I don't know how many they have of his clones, but I feel really bad for the clone. So this video is for the clone. The clone life is in danger because they're about to take him out over a false flag that they're initiating in a country that isn't even America anymore. It's not the United Snakes anymore. What's the name of the town? What's the Chinese name for a new world? Does anyone talk Mandarin? Can you tell me the name of what they would name it? Because it probably doesn't even have an English name anymore. We probably have a country that's named in Mandarin and we don't even know it. Bait and switch. Okay? So basically, I feel bad. No, I do feel bad for the clone. I think it's messed up to take that job. I know the clone gets, maybe the clone doesn't even realize that it's a clone. I don't know how this goes down, but I know that your president is gone. He isn't here. He's left the building. I don't know if he's living on Mars. He's done a jumper, but he is enjoying the amenities of his wealth, and he's probably with the other, like Saddam Hussein. He's with all of those, other leaders that they said they assassinated, and they're all probably chilling together, drinking warm brandy, talking about wars that are non-existent and how the clownery of Americans are, it's sad. It's very sad. But anyway, so right now, you have the red flag. So remember I talked about the Red Dawn? The Red Dawn was a movie. If you don't get a chance, watch the movie The Red Dawn. When there was boots on ground, when they showed that the Russians and the Chinese, in one version of The Red Dawn, I think the first version was the Chinese that hit the ground first, or was it the Russians? Watch that movie to get a better consensus of what I'm talking about, okay? They're here already. They're buying up all the neighborhoods. They already have real estate here. They probably own most of the majority of the companies. So, and you should probably learn the language just so that you have a better understanding of your new landlords that are now part of your country. And I really don't want to hear all of these nationalists say, oh, it's our country. Let me talk to y'all who are confused. For you nationalists who talk about this is our country and it's the United States and I'm American, you are colonizers too. You aren't naturally from this country either. So don't start none, won't be none. You're about to experience the same inception and covert takeover as your ancestors have done to this beautiful country. So for everyone who's mad, who's a nationalist saying this is your world, what about the indigenous? What about the wonderful indigenous that are now alcoholics or sidebar individuals who don't even have say on the very lands that their ancestors walked on naturally without coming here with guns or smallpox to kill off a whole population of other people's people? So just please, nationalists, I think you should keep your mouths closed and please don't make a fool of yourselves. Take it on your shoulders just with the karma. It's just karma. Every debt, I told you, all debts are due. So what you did to another nation is what you will experience, okay? So it is what it is. Oh, thank you, Zora. Why do you say you're president if you align with unity consciousness? As if you don't live in the U.S. too, aren't you with us? Help me understand. Why I say it's your president? Because I don't acknowledge anyone overseeing me. I personally think that this is a holographic experience, and with knowing it's a holographic experience, I won't have to, I'm a non-participant in the political lies and projections, and I know that if I allow myself to mentally take on someone above me, that I'm also taking away the power that I already claimed for myself and my sovereignty. That's just how I feel. Okay. And in unity consciousness, there isn't anyone above you or below you. We're all one. We're in oneness. So we're one earthling. But by taking on the antage that somebody is above you and making calls that you aren't in alignment with, that's taking away from unity consciousness. If I'm your sister, if you're my brother, then we have the same investment and same stake in our healthiness and unhealthiness, our happiness and our unhappiness. If you're upset and your family is devastated, that's like my family being devastated. So when I tell you it's your president, I'm telling you that it is, when I'm saying you, I'm not saying you per se. I'm saying that is something that I'm out of alignment with, because I take full responsibility for the things that I do, and I'm in full connection to my brothers and sisters here on the planet that are healthy and in balance, okay? Leaders and dictators is unhealthy. And if you start taking that as part of your accepting that in this, in this realm of how we exist, I just think you take on, non-unity, okay? Like it's saying, like the rich, the poor, and do I live in the United States of America? I live outside of the realm of this universe, at least I think so. And also, I just verbally I play with semantics. So please forgive me if you get a little insulted. It's my way of playing with semantics. It's really not that personable, you know. I'm all about the oneness, but I'm out of I don't believe in equality either, Zora. That's another thing. I don't believe in equality. I believe in equity. I believe that equity is the way that we regain balance and oneness. I think if you are into equality, then you're okay with somebody being lower than you. So let's say John and Jacob had, you know, disadvantage. So Jacob had a disadvantage, like generational disadvantage. He's a Native American. Jacob has been here several, you know, his family's always been here, but they've been destabilized by others coming in illegally, illegal aliens, and taking over land that wasn't theirs and playing games and, you know, subjugating his family to disadvantages. Okay, so now when we reestablish equality, if I give John $2 and I give Jacob $2, Jacob will always still be behind John. So I don't believe in equality. I believe in equity. I believe John is fine. So I know in order to get Jacob back up to John's status so they're more balanced, I have to give Jacob the full 4 and leave John where he is so that they're balanced. That's equity as opposed to equality. That's what I accept. Okay. Oh, Red Dawn. Okay, Douglas. Okay. Where was I? Okay, so now we have a clone being threatened, and now we got a purge bounty, which is big, like I said, is cryptocurrency bounty on this clone's head. And now we have to now understand that they're literally going balls to the wall. They raised the red flag. I personally think maybe the raising of the red flag could be the red Kachina, blue Kachina antage too. Now I'm thinking that the blue and red Kachina may not be meteors. Maybe the Hopi were actually seeing it in terms of like political parties. When the red Kachina shows up, could be the blue flag, the red flag showing up. And then when the blue Kachina shows up, it could be a blue flag showing up, which could be Israel. Okay. So I thought about that today. I was like, wow, what if the Hopi's prophecy wasn't so much about these red things we see in the sky? Maybe the red thing that they saw in the sky was a flag, a red flag, which was danger. And then maybe the blue thing that they saw in the sky, the prophecy is talking about the blue flag, which is the Israeli state. So I kind of thought about that today. I was like, wow, what if that's the case, that they were seeing that? You know, they can't really discern. Sometimes when you see things in visions, you can't actually discern sometimes if it's something more like, because we're interpreting it in the way that they described it. It may be something like that. Your grandfather was 4 corners Hopi. Oh, that's beautiful. He did make the blue Kachina. Oh, he made blue Kachina dolls? That's beautiful. And also Australia. Okay, so let's get into Australia. This is really sad. And why it makes me sad is because we have a lot of really amazing Australian family on this feed. And it's really, really sad what's going on there. But we have to remember history. His story, not her story, history. You do know that England sent all of its savage criminals over to Australia back in the days, right? Do many of you know history? Many want you to forget about this because they want you to ignore what karmic debt comes to people insidiously genociding a certain group of what they consider to be primitive people, like the Aboriginals, okay? There's consequences to what you do. All debts are due. So if you come from an ancestry of done harm, because even with my Australian friends, a lot of times, like I would talk about, they'd be like, oh, you remind me of, the Aboriginal. But I would be like, how come I don't see Aboriginals? Like, how come I don't see more Aboriginal representation, like on your shows or your movies? How come I don't see that? And if I see a representative of the Aboriginals, they're very fair, meaning that they've been genetically mixing with Europeans. So how come I don't see more representation of healthy Aboriginal people in a good, healthy state of being? Oh, well, they're drug addicts. What did you say to me? They're drug addicts? What, they're sniffing something like that? I was like, really? So you're telling me that a group of very healthy, very endocrine sensitive beings that were coexisting in a country and lived healthy for however long since the Pelagians had landed and seeded them there. So you're telling me now, with the savagery of sending criminals, rapists, murderers over to a land base with these very beautiful, very clean, crisp people, so you're telling me now they're drug addicts and you accept that as that's their fault? Is that what you accept? Oh, well, we don't get into that. Why wouldn't you get into that? You don't have a feeling about a connection to a people whose land that you're living on? Okay, so that means you're probably the problem. If you don't even look to even care about, like if there's native animals that are going and disappearing or they're sick, I would personally think, oh my God, why are the birds dying? These are indigenous. We have beautiful blackbirds here that are from the Caribbean. Oh my God, these beautiful blackbirds, why are they dying? Why are they sickly? Like you wouldn't even question that? So what kind of person are you to just ignore the fact that you're living somewhere, beautiful land of a beautiful people, that you don't even acknowledge or even care why they're sick? Because if they're sick, best believe there's going to be a consequence to you and yours. If you ignore a group of people from where they came, animals, whatever, trees, whatever life is there, and you just nicely sit cohesive on a land base of beings that are sickly, or trees that are dying, or animals that are not thriving anymore because of your presence, and then you ignore it, what say to you and yours? So when I hear about the amazing, disgusting fires that are going and clearing that land, especially the land of where those criminals landed, where those savages, where do you think those savages went, my beautiful Australian family? Where do you think those criminals that England sent, do you think England didn't know it was sending savages to go over there and clean the land of the indigenous? Do you think that the English who set those monsters over there were people that had never been exposed to weaponry or to viruses or to alcohol or to drugs? Do you think that they did it with the best intention? Why would you do that? It was so that you could clear them, so you could dirty them up. What do you think happened with those savage rapists and murderers went over there? They were raping the women. What's that? They were killing the males. They were raping the babies because they were savages. So when I talk to my beautiful people from Australia and I ask them about our indigenous aboriginals there, and you act like you don't know what I'm talking about, or you have a blind eye to the sickness, that sickness is showing up as their ancestors coming back to give vengeance to those who shouldn't be there. If you're somewhere where a group of animals or trees or life isn't thriving anymore because of your presence, then you should acknowledge it, and you should be part of the change to make it better. There shouldn't be a blind eye to people because they don't look like you, or you think they look like monkeys, or you think that their noses are too wide, or their skin is too dark, that you just ignore the fact that they're sick, that they're addicted to things that they didn't have access to until others came and brought it there. That is disgusting to me. So I just say if you're here in Australia and you're experiencing the hardship of the fires, by all means, you need to start sitting down and questioning who and what you are and what motivation you have for still being there without helping the very indigenous people. Because if they're not going to thrive, best believe you won't be able to thrive there either. Let the lands be cleared until there is acknowledgement and there's a reestablishment of balance to the very nature of the beings that were the first to coexist there. Okay? Don't play games with me. Semantics won't work. I'm not the brightest one on the block, but I'm surely not the dimmest. Anyway, yeah, no. UK likes to throw stones and then hide their hands. yeah. You ever see England? England is like the one country they don't take any responsibility. Like they do dirt and they just hide their hands. They did a lot of dirt. How do you send monsters to go and destroy babies and these nasty bastards? Don't worry. The queen is hiding right now. The queen and her dirt bags are hiding right now. They should, because it's about to be cleared on this planet. Anyway, I'm not trying to listen. let me just state this for anyone who's living in Australia. I'm not saying anyone's deserving of anything. I'm not saying that the land, because the koala bears are dying, the kangaroos are being murdered. This land, and just if you notice, Brazilian land was burning, Brazil was burning, the Congo was burning, Australia's burning. There's a, do you see a pattern of what's going on here? Do you see a pattern? There's something going on, and there's a clearing. Fire is a clearing. Just like I burned my wedding dress live the other day. Big up to everyone who joined me for the clearing. Just like I burned my wedding dress because it was something I wanted to clear. I wanted to clear it and then transmute it. So that's what this is. So if you are a conscious being, and yes, just like Zoe asked me why I put them and not us, is in order to make it us, there has to be acknowledgement of the woes that have been brought upon by certain beings or animals or trees, and there needs to be acknowledgement. When you can acknowledge another person's pain or disdain or displacement or harm, it's just like if I see my sister and she's crying because she's been hurt, and I could just say to her, hey, let's just go get, and I ignore it, that isn't cool. I don't really love her. Because I have to acknowledge that's part of being empathetic. We talked about narcissism, and there are global narcissists who sit here and basically ignore other people's pain because it's a hard pill to swallow that their presence there might be creating more pain or might be the very reason why others are experiencing pain. So rather than judging me for saying you and them, I want to be in oneness, but I also know that there needs to be acknowledgement of one's disposition or one's pain or trauma in order to bring oneness about. If you ignore my heartache but just want to be my friend with a blind eye to the things that I've experienced based on maybe displacement, maybe abuses, maybe misogynistic, suppression. If you ignore that about me, then we're not really friends. You just want to be my friend based on the things that you quantify as, permissible for friendship, rather than the truth of what friendship really means. It means accepting me at my greatest and my lesser degree, and also being empathetic towards the woes that I may experience, and me likewise to you. So I think a lot of times when you have these beings that are just ignoring, like in South America, when I go to Brazil and I see a lot of these savages in Brazil who treat other people like garbage and are just happy to have a Yankee hat because it gives them status quo, but they can sit and treat another person because they're a servant or they're a maid like garbage, then what do you think is going to happen in the day of judgment? Okay, like the Christians or the Muslims talk about this day of judgment. What do you think happens in the day of judgment? When you sit complicit and complacent when others are being mistreated and put a blind eye to it. And then if they speak about it, you're like, oh, please don't use that card. Oh, please don't bring. Why do you always have to bring up the past? When people always say, why do you always have to bring up the past? The past is a good indication of future behavior. Why wouldn't the past be up on the table? Unless that makes you uncomfortable. And why does it make you uncomfortable? Because maybe you were the reason why that past existed. Okay, so I'm all about clearing and reestablishing equity. That is my number one goal. I want everyone to be happy. I will gladly take away my coffee to make sure that every child has a safe and happy haven. Listen to what I said. I would gladly never, ever, and you know how I love my coffee. I know it seems really shallow for me to say that, but how I am about my coffee. I would gratefully take away anything, my coffee, some of even my luxuries that I have, just to make sure that every child on this planet was safe, well fed, and taken care of. I would gladly do it. I wouldn't even bat an eye. That's what I would do. If you say to me, well, Flurboon, get it together. Oh, thank you, Gennaro. Thank you. I appreciate it, love. Thank you. That's sweet. I like these little things. Yeah, I would do it in a heartbeat. And I think a lot of times you have to ask yourself, would someone that some of these egregious wealthy people, they won't even take away their housekeepers to make sure that someone has clean, fresh water. Listen to me. There's places that you can go to right now in the Middle East where there's not even fresh running water, in places in India. And there's wealthy people that if they took away just one luxury of just maybe not having a maid, they wouldn't give it up to allow for everybody to have fresh water. Those are kind of narcissists that need to be omitted from our playing field. Okay? Those are the type of beings we need to exonerate from our existence in what we want for our future. That's the kind of selfishness I've seen, and I've had the luxury and disgustingness to visually see people who wouldn't even give up a pair of red bottom shoes to make sure that some homeless have a place to sleep safe at night so they wouldn't be attacked or cold. That's the kind of world that is being cleared right now. So when you tell me that, things are clearing and, there are now changes happening, that's why Flurburn will say to you, get your Pachisi out, get your Jenga out. You may not have electricity, but I darn Skippy know that if you're balanced, you'll have better friendships with your neighbors. You'll have better relationships with your children. You won't be hell-bent on going to a job that you dislike every day just to pay bills, just to maintain a false status quo of unhappiness in a matrix that literally is feeding and sucking you dry. Take it to clear it. So let's go back to the topic. I'm sorry. Let me put a disclaimer out here. I apologize for anyone that I am totally disrespecting, judging, or characterizing as heathens. I apologize. It is my personal, thoughts, and I know that sometimes it is out of sync of the others, so I apologize if I offend you in any way. It's not my intent. By the nature of who I am, sometimes I may offend you. I hope you will forgive me. All right. Yes, could you if you're in the room and you like the conversation, please put a like on the video, just as a general courtesy. I would appreciate it. Okay. So right now we have the red flag that's been raised by Iran. They put a bounty on, I personally know, the clone's head. Trump is gone. And our country has been sold, I'll say our country for Zoe. Our country has been sold to China. Okay, so this is what I know to be. So now our country is now sold to China. I have to learn Mandarin, which I should have always. I did try to take it in college. I just didn't do well the first semester. We're gonna have to learn Chinese. Just get ready for that. I'm serious, family. The Chinese are buying everything globally. When Borazine told me that the border, when he went across to Mexico on the Tijuana border, and it was all Chinese, it was a whole bunch of Chinese people, and they looked like Mexicans, but when he heard them talk, they were talking Mandarin. I didn't know to the degree that I thought it was a soft takeover. Oh no, no, we've been lied to, we've been bamboozled. They're taking over in the droves. Okay, when my girlfriend today tells me that in Connecticut, the whatchamacallit, the gentlemen who take over care of the people in the jail have to learn Mandarin because there are Chinese gangs all in the prison system in Connecticut, of all places, then I know to myself, oh snap, Houston, this may not be your country anymore. Okay, so so let's go more rational, because you say I'm always trying to scare you. Okay, so we talk about the issue. Let's talk about what we can do to assist each other, or to make sure that we are cohesive during this madness that they're trying to project to you. Okay, understand and understand that your president, Trump, is safe. Okay, so if you were concerned about the safety of your president, I'm almost positive he's safe. He's somewhere drinking bubbly with his love. He is safe. He's living his wonderful, astute life somewhere. He will be safe. The clone, I doubt it. So if anything happens, I personally know it won't be your president. It will be somebody else that's a clone or a replica or a double. Okay, unfortunately for them. But make sure that you have your handy dandy passports. Like I got cursed out. That's how you know I'm a New Yorker. New Yorkers, we don't really get phased. Big up to all the New York brethren on here. We don't really get phased. When you guys come for me, I have such a strong, my backbone is strong. And I'm Creole too, because we're a little saucy in our conversation. I usually give it as much as I get it. But New Yorkers, we could take it. Y'all will curse me out for telling you to get passports. And then what happened in Bahamas is that people who listened to me had their passports and it was all good in the hood for them. Let me state this. I'm not telling you to be fearful. I'm telling you to play games, have good sex, drink healthy food, fast. I'm trying to help you out. If I was insidious trying to pump fear into you, I would tell you to run, hate your neighbors, stock up on bullets and guns. That's the type of hateful person I would be if I was trying to fearmonger you. I'm trying to tell you to enjoy your life. I'm trying to tell you that China, that you leave in your cabinet just for company, for good company, you need to start drinking out of those glasses. You need to start enjoying your life. You need to start making love to your wife or your husband instead of saying you have a headache, and enjoy your evening. You need to start talking to your neighbors and starting to get to know who you live around. You need to start making yourself a priority. That's what you need to do. You need to make sure that listen, if the planet blows up tomorrow, you need to make sure that today you're enjoying your life. I will always promote that. That is the number one thing I say to you. This experience that we're having, we're meant to enjoy. So by all means, you need to prioritize your life. Don't be so hell-bent on going to work every day, trying to take care of somebody else's business, trying to make sure your children are better than you, healthier than you. Mommies, I'm talking to you because we tend to do this, mommies and wives, okay? Because I've been a wife and I'm a mommy. One thing with mommies, I need you to prioritize yourself. You need to take better care of yourself, because when we go through a little bit of uncomfortability with the pole shift and the madness that they're trying to project in the matrix, you'll have a very short fuse, okay? So because you have sacrificed for your family, and I think it's beautiful. I love mothers for being such wonderful caretakers. I love you as the wives who take a phenomenal care of your families and your husbands. But the fact of the matter is, I've been a wife and I definitely am a mommy, and I see you sacrifice too much and you give very little to yourself. I'm telling you, this is my advice, is that you start taking care of yourself. You start doing more for yourself, okay? If you need a little bit of a break, please start doing that, because you will have less fuel when you need it, when the world starts losing their goddamn mind like they're doing it now. So mommy, go get a massage, reflexology, have a beautiful, handsome man. The helicopters are coming. Have a beautiful, handsome man rub your feet, and know he isn't your husband, but he doesn't have to be because you're paying him. Okay, so have a beautiful, strong, beautiful man rub your men, husbands, if you work really hard, go and get yourself a nice reflexology massage, okay? Massages bring circulation. It'll allow you to think a little better, okay? For those who are feeling very sick, very tired, I need for you to start to fast, start to take this moment to prioritize your body. And if you drink a lot of beer, punch, I say punch, you hear me say that a lot. Punch is, for me in Creole, punch means liquor. I think some of you say punch, right? Who in here says punch? Where my Creole female? My female. Your wife rubs your feet? That's what I'm talking about, purple goddess. Whatever works. Who says punch? I don't even know what you do, right, Kareem? Punch. We say punch for liquor. So if you have been drinking a lot, eating a lot of Popeye's chicken I told you about watching that genetically homogenized chicken, but I'm not going to get on you. If you've been eating a lot of Popeye's chicken and fast food, I would say to you, why don't you take a couple days to fast? Clear your body. That's self-love. This is all self-love. Oh, poncho. Planter. That's right. Thank you. Thank you. Sometimes because I was raised here, I only use certain words. So I don't know some of the other French words because I've been reared by older French people. So I only say ponche. So if you're eating chicken to mass destruction, genetically homogenized pork, you've been eating pork bellies, pork feet, pork loin, I don't know what you eat. Take this moment and go fast for a day, 48 hours, 24-hour fast. Tell your body, I love you. I'm going to give you a break from processed foods. And drink all that great, look at this new water. I love this Wakini water. You know I'm big on water. I filter my water. It's funny because I buy all these waters. I have water. I have the best filtered water. I have a triple tier filtered water, and then I drink glass bottles. But then I'll drink stuff like this. I'll have like alkaline Hawaiian water. Drink the best water. Tell your body you love it, and then take care of yourself. Okay? Because someone asked me, what should we do? What should we do? Take care of you. You want to know Flurbrun's advice? Do you. Take care of you. Love yourself. That's the best you could do right now. You can't change the hologram that they're trying to project to you. You certainly can't change the narrative of the madness that they're trying to accept into the populace's mind so they accept this craziness. There's nothing. The only thing you could do is do you. Take care of you. So make sure, get fluffy like me. Hey, just remember my little girl say I'm fluffy. Get fluffy. I'm stockpiling food in my body and my bosoms. So when the pole shift comes, I won't have to eat. I'll be living off my steerage. So I told everyone I'm stocking up for the pole shift in my body. You laugh now, but y'all are gonna be really happy to see me still being here. I will be. Listen, I fasted for 30 days. Y'all didn't see me melt away. How is Trump's clone in danger? They got a bounty on the clone's head. Not on your president, on the clone. They got a bounty on his. I feel bad. Clones matter. Clones, I'm being serious. Every life matters. It doesn't matter if it's a clone or not. Clones matter. Okay, so I think it's very disgusting how they just do things like that. And then they're going to play it out, and then people are going to be crying. They'll be acting as if, something happened, and it'll be clones matter. We should make a t-shirt, Clones Lives Matter. I'm just saying, I'm not advocating clones, but I'm just saying it's not right to make them, but if they create them just to kill them, that's wrong. I'm an advocate for all life. All life matters on this planet for me, except, those who are like savages and hurt babies. And I think they should be removed or sent somewhere. You know what I mean? Okay, so what happens? I told you to get passports. That's what I was talking about. You cursed me out. Many of you cursed me out for everything goes ape-ish in this country. Why is that a problem for you? You should have a passport anyway. That is your God-given right now to have a passport. You need to have a passport. And if you don't care enough about yourself, at least care enough about your family members to promote passports. Because let me tell you, in times of war, they're going to ban people you won't be able to get a passport. Let me make a prediction for you. Hold on, I'm not psychic, but hold on, let me make a prediction. They're not going to let you get a passport because all of the offices and everything will be down. The only people who will be allowed to leave the border are people who already have passports. That's my prediction to you. Get a passport, for God's sake. Okay? Having it isn't a problem. You should have a passport. Passport. If I can't tell you that enough, I'm not telling you to leave your country, but I'm telling you your country has already sold itself, and you may not even know what country you're living in right now. Okay? So let's just do that. Nenero said, speaking of which, the adult passport renewal forms were all out when you went to the post office today. See, Nenero? She told you. I can't tell you enough. Have your passports now. For the mommies, listen, I always give stuff for the mommies, especially mommies who don't have the daddies in the life, or vice versa, daddies who don't have the mommies in the life of the babies. You know that when you cross these borders, you need permission now. Remember, I travel quite a bit out of the country. You need permission from the husband, the fathers, or the mothers if you're traveling without the other parent. Listen to me, family. If you're traveling without the other parent, you are going to have problems crossing the border without a note, especially if it isn't notarized. This is something that only I could tell you because this is what I do. I travel. So what I will tell you is that for those who have babies, mommies who have babies without the daddies around, or daddies who have the babies without the mommies around, you need to right now go and get yourself a notarized, they have a notary thing online. I used it. So you can go online You can actually go online and you can put the app on your phone and you do a Skype notary. Only Florburn can share these things with you. There's a Skype notary. So you can go with your ex, if he's not living in the state, let's say he's in Boston or if he's in Africa. I don't know where your ex is living. He could be on Mars. I think they could Skype to Mars. Skype him, you, and tell him to give you permission to travel with your children indefinitely or for 10 years, whatever he's okay with. Do this now because you won't have the option later. Most people don't know about this. This is something that you need to know because of all the child trafficking things that have been going on. They aren't allowing one-parent families to travel abroad. So if you aren't without that paperwork, you're going to have, unless you have sole physical custody. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Melissa. If you have sole physical custody, it isn't required, but you still have to have that paperwork. Okay? So make sure you have your passports and stuff. Now, this isn't telling you to bail out of your country. This is saying if ish in your town gets rough and you're close to a border, it allows you to leave safely until everything clears up. That's all I'm saying. Have an option. Options are good. I always say it's better to have options than to be stuck and having to go to a FEMA camp with savages and super soldiers that are going to be there set forth on people. You know, I didn't even make a video on the super soldiers, but they got these reptile super soldiers that are like, they're non-human. Watch Gemini Man. I don't even know if you saw Gemini Man with Will Smith. Some of you need to go see that movie with Will Smith. It was a really good movie. Okay, so let me go into what time is it? Oh my God. My mate is in the house. He's looking at me right now. I'm in my car. It's so funny. He's making hand gestures at me. He's cooking right now. Okay, so what was I supposed to tell you? There's one more big thing I'm supposed to tell you before I go. What time is it? Does anyone know the time? I'm not here talking smack on the phone. Okay, I gotta go. Hold on, family. Can you put a like on the video? At least I'd be the most fun person you could be during a poll show. If you want to hang out with anyone during a poll show, it's certainly me. I'm as much silly as I am. I'm very serious, but it's one of the things listen, I have to bring laughter into everything. Whenever all this madness goes about, what are you going to be mad about it? You might as well just laugh because they're crazy. These are sociopathic non-humans and they think we're dumb. They think we're dummies. This is so good. You know when I drink really healthy water? I've got a bowl in the house for dinner. My mate doesn't know, but I want the bowl for dinner. I want what he's cooking something good, but I want the bowl. Oh, where are my glasses? My glasses are in the house. I wore them all day today. And people were scared of me. I did. I wore them out and children were frightened of me. So I didn't wear them out. I don't want to frighten the little ones. I frightened the little ones and dogs. I wore my glasses earlier. The dogs and the children were frightened. They were running away. I don't want to do that. I like the dogs and the little ones. Okay. Excuse me. Let me get to it. It's getting dark. And this man, my partner, my mate is in front of me, telling me to come in the house. Okay, so let me wrap it up, but I got to tell you some serious stuff. Okay, so I gave you some tips on when they got a bounty on the clone, the Satanists. Now, mind you, okay, let me go. I think I forgot to stay on topic. Why people think that the Satanists, yeah, it did look like the Borg, right? Why the Satanists are part of this, because it's all smoke and mirrors. You think that it's the globalists. You think that it's the Iranians. It isn't. These are Satanists. These are Luciferian Satanists who hate President Trump. You know that, right? I always tell people, I said when President Trump was voted in, You know who got pissed off? The Satanists. They were protest. When you knew it was something, you knew it was something crazy when a Satanist, CNN and Fox News were pissed off that the president became the president because he wasn't supposed to win. So they're pissed off. So that's why I say it's not the Iranians who are putting the hit. Maybe some of the top tier draconians or Luciferians are putting the money out, but it's not them. It's the Satanists and Luciferians that are putting the hit on him. That's who's doing it. They don't like. That's why I tell you not to be so angry with President Trump, because if Satanists and Luciferians don't like your president, that means that he isn't your enemy. They aren't. Those are the ones that are eating children, sex trafficking, all that madness. It isn't President Trump. That's what I'm saying. You may not like what he does. You know, he is a bit misogynistic, but I will say that if he's anti to Satanists, he's better. He's a better choice than all of them. I'm just saying, they're all puppets. They're all puppets. Trump was with all of them are Satanists to a lesser degree, and all of the wealthy people. Remember, the top tier wealthy people, they're all coming from dark, non-human families. So yes, he was hanging with Epstein. All of them were hanging with each other. Do you know what I mean? This is what I'm saying. They all knew. They're all culpable for being a party to insidious behavior. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying for a person in power, the Satanists and Luciferian don't like him. That's a big deal. Anyway, okay, so I think I gave you help as far as that's concerned. Okay, so this is the thing with the pole shift, okay? Now it's dark. I should have showed you this at the beginning, okay? Because I got to go. I'm getting pressure from my mate. I'm getting pressure to go in the house. This is why staying single helps. Okay, so remember I told you I bought this placemat? Can you guys see? Okay, can you see? I bought this placemat. Okay. Now look at the placemat. I bought this placemat. Remember I told you I bought this placemat because I thought it was interesting that they showed Africa smaller than all the other nations, which is crazy. But I want you to look at this, okay? Do you see everything? Now I want you to look at the South, what they consider to be the South, okay? So in the South, hold on. In the South, hold on. Okay. In the South here, okay, the South here, I want you to look at the South America, okay? Look at the southernmost tip, okay? So you have Argentina and Paraguay, right? Now, I want you to look across here. And this is South Africa, okay? Am I right? Hold on. I can't see. Yes, it's South Africa. Okay. South Africa. Okay. South Africa. Argentina and Paraguay. Okay, and then, hold on. Australia. Okay. Now look where they lie. Look where they lie, across from one another. Okay? Why does this matter? I'm going to show you something. This is what the pole shift will look like. Do you see this? This is what the pole shift will look like. Okay? Now notice all the water is up here, right? Remember all the water was up here? Most of it was up here and less was at the bottom. Not as much. When the pole shift happens, this will be on top. And these will be on the bottom. Okay. Hold on. I didn't make it very good because I'm running late. Okay, so let me just state this. Why am I showing you this? Because I want to show you why all of the Nazis, you don't even know this, and that's why Miss Universe winning was a sign and it was a detail to others to start to move, okay? The places that are on the bottom, they're considered the most south, in Australia, New Zealand, Paraguay, Argentina, Brazil, parts of South Africa, all going upward. Those are all on the bottom. When everything flip modes, it's going to be inverted. It's because everything, and also will be on a tilt. That's why a lot of places will be flooded again. So all the places that are dry and don't have any waterways but look like they used to have water will all be embedded with water again. And all the places that are mostly like where there's a lot of waterways will be drier. Okay, so why I show you this is that everything is going to be flip mode. Okay, that's why the Nazis all moved to Central and South America. Most of them are in Argentina. Okay, so why do I share this with you? Because they set themselves up for post pole shift worthy arenas. Okay. And if you want to vet this out, you can look and see where all of the Nazis ended up. Uh-oh. YouTube is talking about changes. Uh-oh. I think I outdid my thing. YouTube is sending me messages on changes. They're probably looking at this like, oh, we got to get her. They've all moved to those areas. So why is it important for you to know this? Because a lot of the places in like South Africa that are now being reestablished with places that are secure for pole shift, for post-pole shift, Argentina, parts of Paraguay, Chile, Brazil, other parts of Australia on the other side, they are all being reestablished with new groups of people that are waiting for the pole shift, because when it happens, it not only slows down the magnetic field, it will eventually slow to a total 3 days of darkness and 3 days of light. Have to do it a totally stopping. That's why the hologram won't work anymore. And then when it does that, it will go in the inverted, it will flip and it will go in the inverted direction and the tilt will change. That's why many of them are setting up shop in different arenas. I could go further into that, but I can't do it right now. Okay? Yes. People from Europe are moving into Africa. That is also why they're flip moding. That's also why they're letting all of these people from Africa and Middle East all into Europe. And all the Europeans are moving into the Middle East and Africa. That's why now you see a lot of people in Dubai. And now you're starting to see a lot of people migrate into parts of Africa and South America, because they're destabilizing the people in those areas that they want to take over. So what they'll do is they'll cause destabilization. So all of these people that they consider to be Arabs or people from those arenas, they'll destabilize them and then they'll all let them into their countries. That's why Europe is letting all of these people from the Middle East in there in Africa, because they want to bait and switch. So what they do is they're letting them into Europe and they're basically going to their deaths, because they're going to move all into Europe while all of the others are going to move out of Europe into Africa, into Middle East. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. So I can go more into that, but I'm sorry. I kind of went on all different tangents today. But yeah, I may be back tonight on Instagram. I'm not going to be back on this tonight because I don't know. Maybe I'm not going to be on. Anyway, I got to go, family. I hope it was helpful, and again, if you feel like I insulted you, if I'm disrespectful, it's never my intent. I always apologize to you, because sometimes some things I say can be just a little offensive. A little offensive is the word, offensive. Sometimes the things I can do can offend you, and I apologize. It isn't what I intend, and I totally am in oneness with everyone. So when I say your president, I'm not talking about you guys per se. I'm talking about that those who are in alignment with that kind of tyrannical over system. That's all I'm talking about. All right. So I love you. Have amazing. It's so dark now, right? I went from light to dark. So, I hope everybody has an amazing evening. Have a wonderful night. And, hopefully you'll take some of my advice and start taking better care of yourself. Start loving yourself. Start making love to your partners. Start making plans for the future in other countries. If you don't like living in China, then maybe you might have to redistribute yourself and your family in another country. So we'll talk. Have a hood on. Have a hood one. You said a hood one? Anyway, yeah, it's light and dark. It's crazy, right? It's getting dark already. All right, family, I got to go. I love you. Have an amazing evening, and we'll reconvene. Love you. Peace. If I can ever end, it's hard to end this. Okay.